What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Unstoppable Dad Project for another week. I appreciate you joining us. Just before we get started, make sure that you have subscribed on the podcast platforms. We also have a video version of this on YouTube, so jump over there and subscribe on that as well. And I will be putting up the video versions of these on our Facebook page as well. So you've got plenty of opportunities to see this, access this, and listen to it. But the big thing is, this is a podcast first and foremost. So on those audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, make sure you're subscribed. If you're already subscribed, apparently there's an algorithm thing where you can unsubscribe and resubscribe, and that kind of helps bump us up in the rankings. And also make sure you leave us a review on those platforms that you can. All right, now with that out of the road, this week I have had a few questions come through, and I find that I'm talking to a lot more people just in regards to our program and what we offer. So this episode, I'm actually going to go through like why our program's different to the average run-of-the-mill weight loss for dads or adults, and the 28-day challenges and the 6-week challenges, and probably do a little bit more of like a sales training type episode, right? Because this is going to be handy for, firstly, those of you that are listening that are maybe wondering like, oh, what's this guy do and what's this all about? Well, firstly, it's about putting information out there, right? And hopefully information that can help dads understand that they're not in this alone. One of the things that I struggled with a lot was kind of a feeling of isolation and a feeling of loneliness whenever I was going through some hard times when I first became a dad. So one of the things is I wanted to put out a whole bunch of free information, which is what the podcast is about, right? Just free information for you to take what you find useful, discard what you don't find useful, and hopefully action some stuff that can help you move in the right direction. Outside of that, we do have a paid program. So the paid program is predominantly based around training. My background for the last decade plus has been as a coach, helping people in the gym setting. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can maybe see through the back window of my office, you can see the gym that we have set up. So the first thing that we lead with is really like training programs. Now, we have very different tiers of training programs, but the biggest thing and the biggest underlying thing that I find that dads, and we have some mums that do this as well, so let's just say parents in general need, is adaptability. Because you're going to go through different stages of your life when you have kids, where it's going to be you're going to have more time to train, and sometimes you're going to have less time to train. And that can, for some people, that can change week to week. It can even change day to day. So with the different levels of programming, we have like a generic program where it is still an adaptable program. So the way we run that is it's 4 days of strength training where and then we have some optional days outside of there, but we have 2 mandatory days. So basically it's a minimum 2-day program. So on the weeks where you are short on time, you're allocating 45 minutes to an hour to go to the gym and to do the program. On the weeks where you have more time and you can really get into it, there are another 2 optional days. But the big thing is, in the efforts of trying to be adaptable, there are 2 days there, which you just go and hit. If you've done those 2 days, you can give yourself that tick in the box at the end of the week, and you're moving the needle forward for yourself when it comes to your strength building and overall physical capability. So that's kind of our generic program with the adaptability. That program is really designed for someone who either has a very, very extensive home gym, so they have access to barbells, pull-up bars, kettlebells. You don't need a lot of equipment, but you kind of need the basics. You would need kettlebells, dumbbells, a barbell, a pull-up bar would probably be the things that you would need, or someone who's able to go to a commercial gym and do that. So that's kind of option 1 when it comes to our training program. Option 2, when it comes to our training program as well, is a more individualized program. And this is the thing that I'm actually finding a lot of people are starting to go towards. And this is for people who you really need individualization and personalization in what you are doing. And this can be for a whole multitude of reasons. It can be for the fact that you have injuries that you need to deal with, you need addressed. You need to make sure that you are addressing any muscular imbalances or movement deficiencies and things like that so that you can move better. That's one. And number two is those who are actually short on time and maybe they can't get to a gym. So they want to set themselves at home with something. They maybe don't have the funds or the outlay to then go and buy this really extensive gym for a couple of $1,000, but maybe they want to do something simple. They'll go and buy a pair of dumbbells and they'll go and buy a kettlebell. And then what I will do is I will write a program for them, specifically just for them, based off the equipment they have access to. So when you're training at home and you've got like a garage gym set up, there are quite a few advantages when it comes to that, especially for busy dads or busy parents. It means that travel time is taken out of it. So even if you're going to a local gym where it's just down the road, it's only 10 minutes away, you've got 20 minutes of travel time there every time you want to train. Well, if you've got a home gym set up, you don't have to travel. You can literally go and do that in the garage. Okay, so it means that where you may have to allocate, say, 90 minutes, you only have to allocate, say, 45 in order to go and do the session, or 40 minutes, or even 30 minutes. Because this is the thing, when I'm writing a program specifically for somebody, I can work around the time constraints that they have. And this is where, when we start to get individualized, it becomes a little bit more about training, a little bit less about, it's still about the training. That's the primary focus, because I feel I know for me personally, and last week's podcast was kind of touching on this, when I'm moving and I'm doing things and I'm training, whether that be gym training, jiu-jitsu, or whatever the case might be, mentally, I'm able to deal with things a lot better. So with our programs, that's why we generally go with the physical training side, movement side of things first, because for a lot of people, when you start to address that, it enhances your ability to deal with other stuff. Plus, your confidence takes a good shot and it takes a boost. And it's also, in my experience, once we start looking at that and we start looking at getting you moving physically and giving you a dose of physical movement that you are able to complete, everything becomes easier. Everything. Your ability to deal with situations become a lot easier. Your ability to deal with stress becomes a lot easier. Now, this is not a cure-all for everybody, right? But from the people that I'm dealing with, this is kind of where we need to address. Plus, they start to become happier with themselves because they're able to be more capable when playing with their kids. You know, they're not out of breath as much when they're running around at the park. Like, these are all byproducts of just focusing on doing something physical first. So when we're writing a program for you, a big part of that is feeling accomplished at the end of each week, right? So if you're going and doing a program where you're expected to train 5 days a week, but your lifestyle just doesn't lend itself to training that 5 days a week, what's going to happen? You might get through the first week and then you're like, no, I just got to dial down and I've got to do it, right? And you may need to build into that firstly, but that's another conversation. And then you don't do it. But then that starts happening for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. All of a sudden, mentally, you start to get beaten down and you start to feel inadequate because you're not able to complete the work that you're setting out to do. And it may not necessarily be the fact that you're being lazy or you're not prioritizing time. It may be the fact that you actually just need to look at, well, this program isn't suitable for me right now. So this is why getting a tailored program to a lot of people, especially when you are trying to get back into training, is so important, and why it's so important to have a coach. And for dads, especially if you're in that mode and that mindset where you're feeling defeated about a lot of things, we want to use this as a vehicle to spend time on ourselves and to enhance our body and enhance the way we move, so that mentally we can start to attack other things a little bit more, a little bit better, a little bit more measured, without feeling beat down. So if the thing that we're doing is adding to that feeling, we're working in opposite directions with our goal set. So first thing that we look at is, like, we actually look at how much time that we do. And yes, sometimes the conversation needs to be around prioritizing time, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's about starting smaller and stacking up those little wins. So maybe it's about doing 30 minutes of training 3 times a week to begin with. And then once we start to get some momentum, we can start to ratchet that up a little bit. It might be going from 30 to 45 minutes of training. It may be going from 30 minutes of training into 3 times a week into 4 times a week. But it's going to be different for everybody, because everybody has a different life and a different set of circumstances, which is why the vast majority of people that I've been working with are looking for that individualized, tailored approach. Because not only can we deal with injuries, limitations, we can also deal with limitations in scheduling, limitations in equipment, and give you a very, very well-rounded program in the moment where you can feel accomplished about what you're doing. But not only can you feel accomplished with that, what happens after we start to build that momentum, then it's my job to then start to ratchet it up so you can see continued progression. And this is the thing. Initially, it's about building that consistency. And then once we've started to tick that off the list, then we can start to move into starting to ratchet things up so that you can get stronger, you can get fitter, you can get more capable, and you can try and work towards maybe bigger goals around trying to be faster, stronger, fitter, reclaiming that athleticism that perhaps you've lost from one time in your life. And that's why that individualized approach for a lot of people is so important, because there are so many things and so many boxes that ticks along the way. But one of the biggest things, and a saying I hear used a lot, is we want to stack those wins. And it's my job when we work together to make sure that it's easy for you to stack those wins, because for some people, it's easy enough just to fall back into the old ways that they used to for their training. And if that's you, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you that you're able to do that. Probably the programs that we offer aren't necessarily for you. But if you find that getting yourself moving and getting back to, a place where you're at physically is tough for you, then maybe you need to look outside of the box, and maybe we need to do something that isn't just a cookie cutter program. Because what I see a lot, and where I wanted our point of difference to be, is I see a lot of cookie cutter programs. The thing with me is I've had the advantage of not just doing this with myself and people within the Dad Project, but thousands of people over the last decade. So not only do I have the experience of what I'm doing now, I've got thousands of data points over the last decade where I can use as a point of reference, and programs to match and suit those, which it gives me the experience and the luxury to be able to adapt things very quickly and get results for people through that adaptability, and be able to help them reach where they want to go to in a quicker, more efficient way. Because at the end of the day, as a father, as a parent, your time is for yourself is going to be limited. So you want to make sure you're maximizing that so that you can then go and spend time with the kids, more quality time. As cliche as it is, we're not trying to add years to your life. We're trying to add life to our years by helping ourselves become more physically capable. And also then you feed into the whole example thing and stuff like that. That's kind of been done to death, but you do the training for yourself, but you also do the training so you can serve your family a little bit better. But it's hard sometimes to prioritize that time for yourself. So this is where we come in with the programs that we offer, is to try and give you a tailored plan that's going to help you. Now, if you do want to work together and you would like me to jump on a call and kind of go through things as they pertain to you, I'll pop a link down. You can just send us a message on the Instagrams, the Facebooks, anything like that. So the Unstoppable Dad Project on Facebook and at the Unstoppable Dad on Instagram. Shoot us a message on there and we'll tee up a time just to jump on a call. It's a no, it's not a hard sale. It's just more me working out whether what we offer is going to be a good fit for you. So if you're really struggling to get to that, and you're really struggling to find a plan that's going to be suitable for you, maybe you need something that's a little more tailored. There are plenty of cookie cutter solutions out there, but something that's a little bit more tailored to you and your situation, your time constraints, and your particular set of circumstances. That's what we're here and that's what we're trying to offer. So hopefully you got some value out of that. As I said, this week was more a bit of a insight into what we do in our paid program. So if you'd like to jump on board, you can send us a message. Other than that, hope everyone's going well. Hope you're having a great week. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week. Bye.